Well, we're here on the couch. We're actually in Studio M, which is a timeshare, because during the morning we do this show, and then tonight, Bret Baier, the anchor and executive editor of Special Report, takes over with the special coverage.
Same positioning.
Pretty much, exactly.
Yeah.
We just swap out a couch for a big desk.
Big desk.
Big plastic
Good
desk.
to see you guys.
Yeah, good to see you. I know you threw this out to your panel yesterday. What do you think? I mean, there's times when you have to be like a laser with your questions. Other times there's so many smart people, so many experienced people that don't really know what is next, or I never saw anything quite like this.
We haven't seen anything like this, being this tight. You know, I did say last night on the panel, I know it's going to be either really, really close, or Harris is running away with it, or it's a Trump landslide.
Right.
Like one of those will happen.
I think you've covered all the bases.
Yeah, absolutely. So let's talk about Nikki Haley. She's on board, at least in print, in the Wall Street Journal. One of the Trump officials told me they like this better than a joint appearance. The headline is, Trump isn't perfect, but he's the better choice. And she gets specific, from domestic policy to foreign policy. Does this go a long way?
I think it does. I think it does with especially a Wall Street Journal reading, maybe a Nikki Haley following voter who hasn't decided. Understand that I don't think there are many who haven't decided. Peggy Noonan said there's undeclareds, but maybe they've decided.
Right.
I think there are smaller and smaller groups of people who haven't come to the decision.
Yeah.
It's just whether they're going to be motivated to vote on Tuesday or not.
Right.
80 million people will have voted. How crazy is that?
That is crazy. Do you think have you heard there are a lot of voters that are just not going to vote because they don't like either candidate?
I haven't heard that. I've heard a lot of motivation. And both sides think that they are really stirring up their base. I've talked to both sides about ground game, and there is an equal thought about it. Democrats traditionally have a better ground game, so they feel confident about it. But
The Republicans have done a great job this year, though.
with Elon Musk and others.
Yeah. In fact, I was just talking to one of the people who is involved on the Republican side in the get out the vote tomorrow. And he was telling me that, the Republican early voting is much better than it was in 2020, obviously. Now it all comes down to if they can get out the vote. And he's cautiously optimistic, but at the same time, the Democrat machine is really good at it.
So I think there's two things to watch. One is the gender gap that we've already seen, and how does that play out versus men, women, and how it breaks down. We'll see some of that early in the night to be able to tell us if it matches what we're seeing. And then the second thing, and there's the wide gender gap, 57-40, 58-41.
NBC, but it's 18-16, so there's more men voting for Trump than there are women voting for Harris.
But there are more women who traditionally vote.
Right, so you're
overall.
in Georgia,
That's true.
too.
And then independents. There's this independent bunch that's already voted. How are they breaking? If they're breaking for Harris, that means something. If not, I personally think we're going to be in for a long night.
You do.
A long night or a long week?
Now, I hope not a long week.
Yeah.
Bret, tell me the states that make you think it's going to be a long night. And not so much close, but how they do things.
Yeah, Pennsylvania and Wisconsin, they don't start counting until the polls close, and they did not pass the law to do that. So I talked to Governor Shapiro. He said they're going to count through the night. Nobody's stopping, but they start opening the envelopes when the polls close.
And it actually could come down to Pennsylvania. Someone I talked to said it looks like Donald Trump will win North Carolina, Georgia, Arizona, and a good shot in Nevada. That means he would only have to win one of those three, Pennsylvania, Michigan, or Wisconsin. But Kamala Harris would have to win all three of those.
And you look at it in the margin of error, each one of those states. I mean, right now, heading into today, the Real Clear Politics average of the recent polls had him up 0.3% in Pennsylvania.
Right.
0.2% in Wisconsin.
Right.
Now, he's up, but it's all within the margin.
Right, and every swing state is within the margin of error. And there's an item today in the New York Times and the Washington Post as well, talks about how, given past polling errors, we don't know what polling error they're going to make tomorrow, but there probably will be one. One candidate could actually sweep the swing states. And when you look at how all of the polls are bunched up, people are going, what's up with that? Are they just covering their bets because they don't want to say, hey, it was too close, we couldn't call it? They could call it, but they're not.
New York Times Siena, at the bottom of that poll, we couldn't get a lot of white Republicans to answer.
Right.
Less than we had in 2020, so we might be undercounting Mr. Trump again. And that was like in the small print. And I think that that's where we are. When I asked Mark Penn on the panel last night, who do you want to be? Who would you rather be? And he said Donald Trump, which I was surprised. I mean, he's the Democratic pollster. Alex Castellanos, Karl Rove, they all had different things to say. But I think that they feel like the Trump folks are in a good spot.
A couple of things. Axios today called her the no-comment candidate because she had a chance to weigh in on crime with that Proposition 36 out in California and said, where did you vote? Did you vote to reform criminal justice in California? She said, I really don't want to put my hand on the scale. When you asked her, we rolled that clip in. When you asked her about where do you stand on transgender surgeries for prisoners who are legal immigrants.
To follow the law.
Follow the law. Well, what do you think?
Right.
And she had no answer. I think it's a bad precedent for a candidate to could be president without answering any questions.
Yes, and we tried.
Right.
Numerous times. But I think
they don't use it as an opportunity to define themselves.
Right. And I think she was using that to not, alienate one side or the other. But sometimes by doing that, you do, because the people want answers. I mean, the thing about Donald Trump is how he feels about pretty much everything.
Right. And he's been a president before, and she's been a vice president before, so you can compare the records. Do you think, like in 2016, there'll be that silent voter still that doesn't want to admit they're voting for Trump because maybe other people
or
don't like
Harris.
him?
Or I do think it might go the other way, too.
You do?
I mean, I actually
But what about
think...
the Jewish vote? I'm hearing from some friends here in New York that feel comfortable telling me, since I work at Fox, but they're saying, don't announce it on TV, don't say my name, because they're voting for him, but they don't want the community to know.
I told you guys this story back in 2016. Outside, where we had that tent, we were outside where Hillary Clinton was getting the nomination.
Oh, yeah.
We had a really good spot in the parking lot. But anyway, the Democratic nomination. And walk out, and there's a guy with a I'm with her T-shirt, the union guy.
Right.
And he said, hey, Bret, I'm not with her, okay? And I said, are you alone in that? He walks me back to a lunchroom, 150 people. He says, how many of you guys with her? No hands. How many of you guys with Trump? 150 hands.
Right.
And so those were people that couldn't say it.
Right.
But they were all supporting Trump. I think there is that element still. But I'm not sure how much we know about the vote that's already banked, especially the gender gap.
If she loses, when the finger pointing starts, do you think they will regret not having come on Fox more?
I do. I think to get more eyeballs.
Yeah.
Especially for disaffected Republicans or independents that they were trying to get with Liz Cheney and other efforts that they were making. Yeah, I think so.
And you don't have to answer, but you told me in the green room about a brush with a celebrity. Do you want to reveal this? Because it is very interesting.
Well, yeah. It only happens in New York. I went to dinner with Harold Ford and Alex Castellanos last night, and Alec Baldwin and his wife came up to the table. And he said, I really liked playing you. And Saturday Night Live. They were very gracious. I didn't take a picture. I thought it was a little over the top.
Come on!
Harold said we're too big for that. And I said, I would have loved a picture.
But you're kicking yourself.
Yeah.
So how was he?
He was really gracious. He was really great. And we had a nice conversation.
Well, you made it. You were on SNL.
Right.
Was he watching you to see how you ate so he can portray you accurately
Again?
next time?
Don't you guys have
Yeah, we got him.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
We've had many.
Not everyone's happy with theirs.
How's yours?
Not good.
Okay, all right.
I had that guy, Bobby Moynihan, easily 150 pounds overweight.
Well,
Yeah, and a ton of shins. But whatever.
So you've got a big night. Starts tomorrow night at 6 p.m. with Martha.
Yes, and it's going to be a cast of thousands. We will have everything covered, and it's really cool. The technology is going to be
How
great.
do you
think
prepare?
Hemmer's showing off? What is
I
he
do.
got? He's in another dimension.
No, it's like
He's
Tom
in another
Cruise.
planet.
What's
You
that
see the new
movie?
graphic?
Tom Cruise. He's
Yeah,
things
Minority Report.
Those new graphics are incredible,
They
though.
really are.
He has the two boxes, and he can pull the states into...
He can move things
something. It's
around,
really
which is
cool.
crazy.
It's going to be
Yeah.
fun.
This is
and
our new studio.
It's going to be really cool to watch, and I think, you're going to feel that you're a part of it.
What do you do to prepare?
Drink a lot of coffee.
Yeah.
Hey, we have a lot in common.
Yes.
All right.
Right.
Brett, thank you
take a
very
nap
much.
today.
Yes.
Okay. And first do radio at 9:06.
Okay.
Okay, thanks.
I'm Steve Ducey.
I'm Brian Kilmeade.
And I'm Ainsley Earhart. And click here to subscribe to the Fox News YouTube page to catch our hottest interviews and most compelling analysis.